Hello guys, how you doing? John here with Ready Player Movies and welcome back to another video. So thank you for sticking with me. We're making pretty good progress here. We are now into the days of my complete Blu-ray, DVD and 4K collection. We're doing things by format category here, guys. For those people that are new to the channel and to this series, so we're doing the Blu-rays. We're doing the Blu-rays first, starting with the numbers. Chat back on the previous videos if you wish to. If not, then that's absolutely fine. We will continue on, and we will continue on with the letter D. Right, okay everyone, so what do I have for you today in this video? Right, okay, let's get started. So the first movie I've got, guys, is Deepwater Horizon with Mark Wahlberg, directed by Peter Weir. It is Peter Weir, isn't it? Peter Berg, sorry, Peter Berg. I do apologise. I knew it was a Peter Berg. A brilliant true story about the explosion on the BP oil rig off the Mexican Gulf. Next we have District 9, another great film from Neil Blomkamp, this time starring Sharlto Copley, and I think he's the only big name in this. Yeah, there's no cast on the back of this. So Sharlto Copley is the only real big star in this film. Very good movie about aliens that have resided on Earth and are living in a slum district by the name of District 9, obviously from its title. And Sharlto Copley is a environmental health inspector for I think it's set in Pretoria in South Africa, and he basically goes in to try and reason with these aliens because they need to move out because they've been relocated and they don't want to. So an unusual course of events happen to this guy, and there's a little bit more to it than that, but I'll leave that for you guys to find out. So I don't really want to spoil it, but it is a good film. It is a good film. It was quite well received at the time it came out. Next we have the brilliant Miss Doubtfire with the late great Robin Williams. Also stars Sally Field, and who else is in this? Who are the children? Pierce Brosnan's in it. And Robert Prosk is also in this as well, but it doesn't have the kids' names in this. But the eldest daughter in the film is also the one of the children that Russell Case has in Independence Day. So yeah, she's in it as well. Brilliant film. It's so funny. One of the best Robin Williams films. Not one of my favourite Robin Williams films, though, but we are going to get to it later on down the line. Miss Doubtfire. Next we have Deep Blue Sea, which is arguably the best shark movie since Jaws. Since Jaws came out in 75 or 76, one of the 2 years. I know it's not 77, but I know it's either 75 or 76. This is the best one. This is arguably the best one since then. Pretty good film. It's about the Meko. It's about the Meko shark being tampered with, and they grow smart, and all hell breaks loose on a deep sea aquatic centre. Next we have Dante's Peak. Now this film, even though it didn't get very well received when it came out, has actually gained quite a following on the cult circuit, and it's one of my favourite disaster films. Obviously, as you can see, it stars Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton. Really good. It's about Dante's Peak is a town that is at the base of a volcano. So it's basically about this volcano being dormant, and all of a sudden, just that completely out of like somewhat out of the blue, erupts while Pierce Brosnan is on a vacation there. Really good film. Next, we have another excellent film in The Departed from oh no, not again. Martin Scorsese. Now this is with as you can see, um, Leo DiCaprio and Matt Damon. Also it does have a pretty impressive cast attached to this. Not seen it for a good few years now, so it is. So I am sort of eyeing it up for a watch at some point in the coming weeks. Next, we have the hilarious Dumb and Dumber with it needs no introduction. Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. Honestly, if there's one film that I can go back to for belly laughs from start to finish, it's this one. It's great. It really is. And you can switch your brain off and put this on, and you'll just be entertained from start to finish. I absolutely love Dumb and Dumber. It's so funny. Next up, we have a film that I picked up roughly about a month ago. Not really watched it just yet, and this is one of Jackie Chan's movies that he did over in Japan before. I think maybe when he moved back to Japan from Hollywood, and this is Dragon's Fever. Now, like I say, I'm not 100% if I'm right on those details, because I know he did come to Hollywood after a small stint to do some work in the Hollywood film, and then he did move back, but I don't know when it was or anything like that. But yeah, Dragon's Fever. Don't know anything about this because I've not watched it yet, but I will. But I will do eventually. I will get around to it. Next up, we have another Barrow purchase from that video a few weeks ago, which was the first, which was my introduction back into YouTube. Dragnet, awesome film. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, check back on that other video, because I don't really want to repeat myself, even though I am doing for some of these already. Yeah. Next we have Doors with Val Kilmer. Awesome film, absolutely brilliant film. This, if you haven't seen this, I do recommend you watch it. Oliver Stone directed The Doors. Next we have The Dead Don't Die, which is kind of a parody on the zombie genre, and it's filled with stars from the generations. We've got Bill Murray in this, Stephen Dorff, who else? Tilda Swinton, Steve Buscemi, Iggy Pop, Selena Gomez, Danny Glover, Adam Driver. But there's such a there's such a big cast in this, but yeah, it's a pretty good, it's a good film. It's a good film. It kind of has the sort of Evil Dead vibes going on in this, as you can probably tell from the front cover actually, because it does come directly from one of the covers of the Evil Dead separate prints, if you get what I mean. Yeah, good film, guys. Next we have Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal. Very interesting film. This quite a very dark movie for a PG rated as well. No, it isn't a film that will quite fly with today's youth. Think it will probably be given it will probably, if it was reclassified, it would probably be go up to probably a 12 or something like that. It's a good film. It's a good film. Haven't seen it for quite some time, so it's not really very fresh in my mind. But it is an interesting watch. Next we have Diabolique, which is I think this is a French movie, and a very good one as well. Now this did actually get a remake in the mid-90s starring Sharon Stone, which actually is just as good as this original. Now I'm not going to tell you what it's about, because I'm sure by judging by the cover you kind of guess what it's about. It's about murder. It's about murder, or as they said, I know it's basically murder. Yeah. For you people that didn't understand what I was doing there, I was doing my impressions on a TV show called Taggart and another TV show called Cracker. Anyway, yeah, Diabolique, guys. Very good film. Like I said, the remake is just as good as the original. So if you can source copies of both versions, give them a watch, because there's not an awful lot of difference between them, really. It's interesting to see how it all sort of panned out, how it pans out. Honestly, really good film, really good film. Next we have The Day After Tomorrow from Roland Emmerich. I like I say, as a disaster film, I also really like this film. And this is about the next ice age, really. It stars Dennis Quaid, Jake Gyllenhaal, Ian Holm, and also there's a few of the big names in this, but I couldn't tell you who they are offhand. Let's have a quick look. Pardon me. No, the other names aren't quite on this, but the main names that I do have on this, that are on this, I've already mentioned. Day After Tomorrow, really good film, very good film. Next we have Dr. Zhivago, starring Omar Sharif, Alec Guinness and Julie Christie. Next we have one of my absolute major favourite of all time guilty pleasures, Deep Rising. This film is an absolute blast. I can watch this multiple times a year and never get fed up of it. It's not. I'm not going to say it's really cliched. It just has one of those effects on some people where it's just like, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's entertaining. Basically, it's just about the sea monsters that take over a cruise ship that has been destined to be blown up anywhere, so by a group of mercenaries, and it's up to Treat Williams, the late Treat Williams, rest in peace, Treat, who has sent these Marines to this boat, and he just wants to get off the damn thing, basically. But he also wants to eradicate the problem before he does go back, if you know, just to make things easier for him, to make it easier for himself. But he gets roped into all of this, unwillingly, you know, and he meets Famke Jensen in the process, and his sidekick is Benny from The Mummy. What more can you ask? What more can you ask for in a film? In a film like that, you know. Everyone's on top form in this. Wes Studi is in this. Jason Fleming, Cliff Curtis, Trevor Goddard, who was Kano in the original Mortal Kombat, and Jermon Hunso, or whatever his name is. I can never know how to pronounce his name. I'll put him up here. I'll put him up here. That's the guy. Next we have The Descent from Neil Marshall. One of his best films, actually. This is a fucking good film, and it's about these six individuals who go to explore a cave system. They're supposed to be going to one that has been mapped, because it's kind of a safety protocol that they go into a cave system that's been mapped. It turns out that this particular one hasn't been, and the team leader wants her team to be the first to map it, and in the process of doing so, they come across some cave dwellers that are very cannibalistic. Excellent film, really, really is. It does take that turn, does come when you least expect it, and it doesn't disappoint at all. It's very claustrophobic as well, so it is worth watching just for that. It's just a very uncomfortable film, but it's that kind of uncomfortable that keeps you wanting more from it. So that's The Descent, everybody. Really glad to have that in the collection. It did get a sequel, which sadly is not as good. Next up we have Deliverance with Burt Reynolds and John Voight, and who's the other guy? RoboCop. Ronnie Cox. Another excellent film. For its time, it was a bit. A lot of people turned their noses up at this for one particular scene that was very which a lot of people, kind of including me, found quite inappropriate. But when you look at it from the point of view of people that don't quite get to see society, to become their own type of breed, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that they were doing weird things with each other, but they become very clouded, and these things do tend to happen. But this film was from the 70s, so it was in a way it was sort of ahead of its time. And if I could compare it now, it's sort of like a more tamer version of the Wrong Turn films. Basically, that's what I can give you as a somewhat of a synopsis on it. So that's Deliverance. It's worth watching, but it can be a little bit uncomfortable at times, so I'll just give you that little bit of warning. I sort myself out. seem to sink in this bloody chair. I need to get something. I need to get something. I need to get myself a new one. Anyway, Django Unchained, one of my favourite Tarantino films. Say one of my Tarantino films. If anything, I would say it probably is my favourite Tarantino film. Brilliant film with Jamie Foxx and Christoph Waltz, and in the latter half of the film, Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, I love this film. Absolutely love it. Glad to have it in the collection. Despicable Me in 3D. This is a recent edition. Now, believe it or not, I have not actually seen this before. I'll leave that one with you. Dallas Buyers Club, another excellent film with Matthew McConaughey. Really enjoyed this film. But having said that, I've only watched the once since I bought it, and that was going back to 2017, something like that. It was when I first started, not heavily collecting all of this stuff, but sort of was getting onto it, becoming a bit more than what it was back then. Yeah, so Dallas Buyers Club. Next we have the remake of Dredd, of Judge Dredd. Well, saying it's not a remake; it's a reboot of the Sylvester Stallone movie from '95, I believe, 94, 95. Now, as much as I somewhat enjoyed the original one, it's nothing compared to this. This is brilliant. I absolutely love this film. Yeah, and I'm really glad it came in 3D, because the 3D in this is really impressive as well. I still have my 3D TV. It's behind the camera, and I use it mostly to do my work on the PC. Next we have Dreamscape with oh, who's in this? I don't remember who's in this. Dennis Quaid. Oh. No, I have got to be really honest with you guys. When it comes to this, I've had it for a while, but I've not seen it. I've never seen this film. I've never seen it. I think I might have said in the past that I have, but I honestly don't remember watching it. If I have to be honest, so I'm just gonna clear that slate and say it's not a watched one. But it stars Dennis Quaid, Max von Sydow, Christopher Plummer, Eddie Albert, and Kate Capshaw. So yeah, interesting cast. Next we have the Darkman trilogy. Now, in all honesty, the first one is the only one worth watching out of these. The second one is okay, but the third one is just terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But I paid a good price for it, and if I remember rightly, I think it was only £10 for this. So I thought I might as well pick it up. It's the original film is excellent. It stars Liam Neeson and oh my god, it's not Elizabeth Shue. Frances McDormand in one of her earlier films. I think it was before she did. No, it wasn't, because Fargo was quite a bit later than that. But this came out but the original film came out in roughly 1990. And the reason why this came about is because Sam Raimi, who was the director of the first one, was originally meant to direct the 1989 Batman movie, but obviously with things that happened with that, that evidently went to Tim Burton. So Sam went off and created his own superhero, Darkman. Really, like I said, the first one's excellent, but the two that followed, okay, and then awful, like really, really awful. And they changed things up quite a lot in that third one, to the point where you was like, what was the point in it even being a film, you know? Anyway, moving on, guys, and the next film I've got is probably one of the best and cheesiest films of the 90s, in Demolition Man. Now, say what you want about this. Now, I've said it is a cheesy ass film. It is. It really is. But it's a very likeable film as well. It took me a while to get a hold of to get a copy of this on Blu-ray at the time. I've had it for quite some years now, but God, I really wanted this on Blu-ray when I heard that the Blu-ray was coming into fruition. I thought, I hope they bring Demolition Man out, because you very rarely saw it on DVD. But yeah, I love this film. I absolutely love it. It's so good. It's so good. Next up, we have The Disaster Artist, which is based on the events surrounding the making of the film The Room, with that starred who did star? Tommy Wiseau, the guy was called, and Tommy's being played by James Franco, and his brother's also in this. I think he acts as the producer of The Room, and it's based on the making of The Room. And it's actually quite a good film, actually. I was actually quite surprised. I mean, I did a lot of digging on the original film that they were on Tommy Wiseau was making, and the stories that were coming out. I was like, my God, it deserves to be made into its own movie. Anyway, guys, The Darkest Hour with Gary Oldman. Now, I've got to be really honest. I like this film. I do like this film. But as it turns out, Gary Oldman has now played the form of two people of importance in the last few years. He's Churchill in this, and he played President Truman in Oppenheimer, if no one noticed. Next we have Dr. Sleep with Ewan McGregor. Now, I'm going to be honest. I mean, I love The Shining. Is not one of my favourite films, but I can still watch it and have a good time with it. But I still haven't gotten around to seeing this, and I bought this when it did actually come out, when it was released. So yeah, still haven't gotten around to it, but I will do at some point. I don't know when it will be though. I think The Shining was one of those films that I needed to be in the mood for watching. And next up we have the film that started off one Steven Spielberg's career in movies, Duel. This is a fantastic film about a crazed trucker that goes after a guy that just decides to go after someone and make their life a living hell, basically. And it actually very heavily inspired the making of Jaws. Really, it's an excellent film. It's so well directed. You can very much see the talent that Steven Spielberg had back in the day when he was making this, because some of the camera angles and the fact that like you can feel the tension just from some camera angles. It boggles your mind to think how Steven Spielberg worked back then, up up until he took Jaws on. You know, I mean, that was another film production that gave him that wouldn't didn't actually cost him dearly, but it nearly broke him. And it was only, I think it was only his second movie. So enough can be said about that. But that is the last one in this pile of letters. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. I actually enjoyed doing this as well. That's 2 videos back to back that I've done in the last couple that I've recorded in the last couple of days. I'm doing a few just to get myself ahead. But next up, we've got the E's coming up, and there's not many of them, so we're going to do the E's and the F's. And there's not many F's either. So you're going to get 3 letters in the next video for good keeping. So look forward to that, guys. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it some likes. Comment as well. Tell me your thoughts on what your favourite films are out of this stack that I've shown you. And if you want, you can share it apart as well. No problem. If you don't want to do any of that, that's fine as well. Also, if you want, you can subscribe to keep up with any future videos that I'm going to be releasing. And I hope that I can continue this little journey of keeping up videos uploading onto the channel. It's working so far. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you next time.